Hello and welcome to another video tutorial Monday. This week I will be showing you how to use masks to create an all-over background with a flower stamp and a leaf stamp. It's a little bit different than my usual style, but I really wanted to play with these stamps and use masking. This stamp set is by Hero Arts. Which is their layered flowers, is brand new from their new catalog, and I picked it up at Archivers the other day, and I've just been loving it. So I'm taking the second biggest flower image from the set, and I'm just going to stamp it in kind of an all-over fashion on the card, making sure to leave enough breathing room between each of the flowers so that I can add leaves in later. And this right here is going to be my focal point flower. This is going to be the only one that I color in, and then all the rest I'll leave uncolored to kind of just add that extra little pop. So I went through and I just stamped the flower image 4 more times, kind of just making sure to keep everything looking a little bit random, but still looking intentional. Now I'm just going back with my Micron liner. This is from Copic. It's the 0.3 liner, and I'm just touching up this stamped image. Since it was close to the fold, it missed a little bit of the detail. So I just went back in with a marker and it was fine. So now what I'm doing is just stamping this 5 times on this regular type paper. I'm going to cut it out. These will be my masks. If you had masking paper, that'd be great too, but you might not want to waste it on just 5 of the same mask because you don't really have a usual purpose for 5 of the same mask. So using typing paper just works fine. Just use some repositionable adhesive and you'll be fine. I just stick them down to the card. You can see they're not even stuck down that well, but as long as they stay in place and you stamp straight over the top, it's not going to matter if the edges are perfectly down or not. So I'm just stamping, I'm using the white paper so that I don't stamp on the back at all. And now I'm just going in with the leaf from the same stamp set, and I'm going to go around each flower, trying to put the leaves where they look like they would make sense. So for this one, since this will be my focal point, I thought about these leaves a lot more. I wanted to make sure that they were coming from both pretty normal angles from the flower, so I did that. And then I just went around and tried not to overlap the leaves at all and stamped the rest of the leaves. And it looks like kind of a mess right now, but you'll see it's really magical when you take off the masks. Everything looks so pretty and clean. So don't be concerned if it looks a little bit messy right now. So I'm peeling off the mask, and you can see it's just beautiful. It looks like the flowers are in front of the leaves. Oh, this is my favorite part. So now I'm going to start coloring, and I'm just going to color the main one, and it's for 2 reasons. One, because coloring that whole card would really stink. It would take forever. And 2, because it'd be way overwhelming. All you need to do is color one, because the coloring, if it's high quality, it'll really make it pop. So I just tested my colors on a scrap piece of paper in the same color that I'll be coloring on. Now I'm just adding in my darkest purple first, all over the flower, and then I'm going in with my sort of magenta color, my medium color, and adding some more in there and going around the center of the flower. I usually work around in layers, so I do the center of the flower first, then the second set of petals, and then the third outside set of petals. It just helps me keep organized, really. You could do it any way that you feel comfortable with. Now I'm just going in with the lightest purple, and I'm using it to blend everything together. And this purple has a really high opacity, so it's going to cover a lot of the color that you've already laid down. And Prismacolor pencils are really nice because of that, but it also means that you have to go back in and add some color. But it's great because you can go in and just tweak it until you're really comfortable with the way it looks. So I've went around and I'm kind of adding in some more of the darker colors and just making it look exactly how I want it to. Kind of blending. You can always go back in with a lighter color to blend it all together. And it's just great. Color pencils are so forgiving. I love them because of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the middle a little bit more to help it add some dimension. And now I'm going to go around the second set of petals, just adding in this one. I'm going to start out with the lightest color, making sure I get really good coverage on the outside, and then kind of feathering it towards the middle so that I have kind of open spaces to add in the darker colors. You can see I already went in with the dark purple, so I just wanted to do it this way because it's going to be predominantly this lightest color, so I wanted to go in with the lightest color first. I thought it just made the most sense. And then I'm just going to go back in and add some magenta. And it's all about building up the layers. It's just, if you don't color too heavily the first time, it's really easy to go back in and add more. So I'm just adding color as I see fit, and I'm going back over it with the lightest purple just to make it all blend together. And now I'm going to go around the outside edges of the flower. And I'm just doing the same thing that I did with the second layer here. Went all around the edges, making sure that the softest purple was really dense towards the outside of the petal, but I still had some kind of spaces to put in color towards the middle. So now I'm going back in with the magenta, making sure to kind of make it really light and feathery so that I don't need to blend that much when I go back with the light color. And you can see it really just adds so much dimension. Oh, I love that magenta color. Now I'm going back in with the purple, the dark purple. Just adding some more depth there. And back with the lightest one again, just to blend everything together. Now I'm going back in with the darkest purple, and I'm just going to go around the edges where I hadn't colored yet. And that just really makes it pop off the card, and I love that. Now for the leaves, I'm going to spend a little bit less time on them because honestly these leaves are kind of an odd shape because the veins don't go horizontally, they go pretty much vertically down the leaf. So I just used a lot of the color in a very vertical, fast fashion, and I put the first darkest color down there. Now I'm going back into the lightest color, going around the edges, and kind of just feathering it in towards the middle. And you can see it's not blended together yet, but that's what the middle color is for. So I'm going back in, covering pretty heavily over with the middle color, and then I went back with the light color again to help blend it in. And you can see just a really simple, easy leaf that adds a lot of dimension without taking too much of the detail away from the flower. So there's my finished colored piece, and you can see it just adds so much dimension and depth to the card. And now I actually am taking one of my favorite sentiments from the Sophie Sentiments stamp set from Lawn Fawn, and I cut it in half. If you don't cut the stamping portion, if you just cut kind of the webbing between the letters, it doesn't make any difference. You can mount it back on your block the same way you did before. It's kind of hard to take the first step, but trust me, it's worth it to get it the exact configuration you want it. So I'm just stamping it there to making sure it looked okay the way I had it on the block. Sometimes it's hard to tell without stamping it, and it looked fine, so I went ahead and stamped it on my vintage cream cardstock, which is my favorite. Now I'm just cutting it down so that it'll go easily on my card. I'm going to put it right about there, right there. And I decided that I wanted to round my corners, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with my corner chomper. I'm going to use the smaller corner on this, and then I decided to tie it all together. I would also round the corners of the card. Actually, first I'm going to grab my tea-dye ink because I didn't really want those stark edges. So I'm just using the Distress Inker foam tool. Oh, and now I'm going around the corners using the larger corner. So this is the 1/2 inch. And I think nestling the sizes in like that really works. So I just inked the edges really lightly with my tea-dye ink here, and added some foam adhesive to the back of my sentiment, and I'm just going to adhere it to the side there. There we go. And now what I decided I wanted to do was to add some black gems. I figured adding some shine and sparkle would be kind of nice. Since this is a pretty elegant card, it would be a good thing to add. So I'm just going to add in those gems. I'm going to put quite a few in the middle of the center of the flower. Because if you looked on the stamped image, it kind of looks like a whole bunch of gems kind of stacked up next to each other. And then I also did gems down the side next to the sentiment. I love doing that. It adds that little punch. And now I'm going to balance out that white piece where the sentiment is with some white stitching in the corner. So I just used my Tim Holtz paper piercer and just used a needle and thread. So there's the finished card. I hope you enjoyed this week's Video Tutorial Monday, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you!